Welcome everyone in the Eternity ecosystem working on products. We are currently in week 22 of this year, and I will just give a quick wrap up about the different projects that have this week has been worked on. Lots of work went again into the protocol. As you all know, the Fortuna upgrade is going to happen in the next week. There's lots of work in the Elixir SDK and also the DevSuite team, mainly on Forge AE, our contract development kit, did work. The base app has lots of updates, which Stoyan will tell you in a moment. And also in the JavaScript SDK, middleware, Python SDK, Go SDK, and Documentation Hub, things happened. In total, we had over 40 people contributing code this week to different repositories. And we also have a few new developers that worked on different stuff in Kiev, in Buenos Aires, in Sofia, that are joining our community. We have received this week and past week lots of applications in the Eternity Crypto Foundation, which is also interesting and worth to mention. This week we have the We Are Developers Conference in Berlin, where I think people will, Milan will have a workshop, which is also interesting. Please say a few words to this. The week after in Berlin, there will be a core developer protocol workshop. And of course, the Fortuna upgrade is in front of our doors. So this was just a very, very quick update, and I will start with the protocol. So Sergey, please tell us what this week's updates are.
Okay, hi everyone. So the last week we were already working on the post-Fortuna changes and features. So as I've been said, the Fortuna hot fork is scheduled next week, like around 11 a.m. on the 5th of June. So we are already working on the next release, so namely 3.10. So there it will be mostly dedicated, like there will be a few big updates to state channels. So one of them is making the state channels aware of generalized accounts, because right now they're not working too well together. So some issues may arise. So it's going to be improved and released next week. And also there was like quite a big chunk of code implementation of the solo closing, which we are busy most of the few months. So seems to be like a small feature, but it involves a lot of work and reworking the finite state machine to make it clean and safe. Then also there was work preparing Stratum, like for the release, which will happen, I think, after the next few releases. So it will definitely happen after the hard fork, and work on the Fortuna VM, on the Faith VM, which will be released with the next hard fork somewhere in autumn. And basically this is it.
Great, thank you very much, Sergey, for this update. I will directly give the ball to Pega, as she is working with lots of people right now that are actually using the protocol and the APIs. And Pega, give us an update from this week. You are muted, cannot hear you.
So hello everyone, and this week I've been taking care a lot about open developer questions to get answered as fast as possible at the forum, because I saw there was a lack of answering and people got stuck with different projects. So it's really important to get speed and also the frustration out of people. So, but it was all successful. And besides that, I created a blockchain comparison table for Eternity, and because there was one missing, and my wish or my vision is that if people type such a thing in a search engine, that these kind of tables will be spread and that they get to see them. And I also discussed about improving the documentation hub with extending it with an open issue button. So I started to work on this. Yeah, so that's basically it for this week. And yeah, I pass the ball.
Thank you very much, Vega. And yeah, again, I think it's good that you are looking now also not only on the documentation up and trying to get the documentation together, but also having a bird eye perspective on all the technical forum posts and reach out to the different people here in our team that might know the answer to the open questions. Pivo, can you give me your update also regarding the workshop next week?
Yes, so let me first start with the We Are Developers workshop. So for this, we will have two parts together with Milan. First part will be Eternity Theoretics. So what is Eternity blockchain? How does it work? What are the features that we provide? And also, how does the smart contract language Sophia work? And then we will go to an interactive part of the workshop where the people actually code a smart contract in Sophia. So we build a small in-browser smart contract editor with a to-do app interface. Once you start fulfilling the interface, a to-do app UI will be generated in the browser, and you can directly use the smart contract you did right above. And yeah, you will get checked for errors and stuff like this. Looking forward to try this out with the crowd at We Are Developers workshop.
What day is this happening in Berlin?
Our workshop will be on next week. The conference is on Thursday and Friday, 6th and 7th of June, and our workshop will be on 7th of June. On Friday, the whole day, it's split into two groups. One is starting at 11, and one is starting sometime in the afternoon at 3, I think.
Perfect, thank you.
Other topics the team did work on is the Elixir SDK, where we did lots of progress. We added a chain high-level module for easy access to chain functions, for example, to get blocks, microblocks, transactions out of the chain in the easy fashion that we have for other modules in the Elixir SDK. We added access to the contract events while calling to the contracts module to get this quite easily. We finished the Oracle module, so this is now completely done. We made a proposal, or we have in pull request, simple endpoints for the naming system so that you can make use of Elixir functions such as piping to combine multiple steps. For example, you can directly pipe your pre-claim into the claim of the naming system and thus make a whole naming workflow in 3 lines. And the next thing we will work on is compatibility to the Fortuna release. This will also be the first release that we will make of the Elixir SDK. Once this Fortuna compatibility is done, we will make a first release to the Hex package repository. Other topics I did work on in the last week were with the Zap Oracle platform. We looked into how we can collaborate with them, how we can bring Eternity oracles in their marketplace. I checked out the project and their contracts and thought of ways that we can collaborate. I will continue work on this next week.
Great.
And also together with Milan, we started work on drafting a fungible token contract standard on Eternity similar to ERC20, where we want to learn from all issues that people have with the ERC20 standard and also some security problems that it had. And we're going to create a Sophia optimized interface and code style for this. And also in the written update, I will provide all the links for everything I just said, so everybody can have a look at what we are doing there.
Fantastic. Yeah, Milan's name also was mentioned a couple of times, and I think it would also be great to have like a extremely simple and boring front end for those tokens as soon as they're there, so you can quickly play around with them or deploy them through our contracts app or IDE and call the different functions that it has. But I'm sure you're already planning this. Milan, I think you initially came up with one of the expansions or with this expansion, so please say a few words to it.
Hello everyone. Sorry that I cannot turn on my camera because something happened, but yeah, as people said, we were working on drafting a standard for fungible tokens, and basically we had provided an example implementation which we are iterating over and improving each day. We'll try to make it as good as possible with as much tests as we can, so that people will be eased in creating their tokens. And we would like to invite everyone to participate in the discussion in the forum regarding this, so everyone can give a feedback and discuss before we standardize this thing and finalize it. Regarding the wallet, the last week the wallet was we have released new version 0.0.3. It's again a beta version, but it supports the new Fortuna update. It's still pending in the Chrome Web Store for review. I don't know why, but it's released in GitHub, and everyone who wants to use it can get it from there while the Chrome Store updates it. As people said, again, we were preparing some stuff for the We Are Developers workshop. He created this to-do app that people will be interactively creating, and we'll have a workshop again with theoretics that will basically have the we'll try to explain the people what blockchain is, what eternity is, and level them on the same page so that we can proceed with development. I think it will be a good workshop. Yesterday, I had a call with a team that are planning to build on Eternity. Verain, if you heard about them, they are into our random chat. So we had created a work group and workshop planned for the 10th and the 8th and the 11th of June, and we'll try to create some proof of concept for their use case on Eternity. Also, regarding the wallet, we are expanding our team with 3 new developers of our team that will be joining our efforts to build the wallet and make it faster and usable. And another thing that I mentioned last week but forgot to mention now, we have created a WhatsApp bot that will be used as similar to the Telegram tipping bot, and basically will provide interface for spending transactions through WhatsApp and sending basically A tokens to people while only knowing their number in your contact address. Yeah, that's it for me.
Fantastic. It's really lots of updates, and I will also summarize this with bullet points and notes in the forum, and please also do the same so people can just read over it and also jump on topics that they're interested in. And then we're also doing these calls so everybody here in the ecosystem knows what's going on. And I think especially when it also comes to tokens, this will be important for wallets too, because we will not only want to create tokens, but we also want to transfer them and have them in our different wallets. And yeah, speaking from wallets, I would like to let Stoyan talk and give us updates about the base application.
Sure. So since we last did this product update, we also got approved in the iOS App Store in addition to Android. Woo! Yay! This is a rather smooth process, or smoother than I've ever seen it to be on iOS. So that's great, and it was relatively quick. We downloaded the builds, tested them. You know, everything works well. I wrote a blog post to announce this and to speak a little bit about the process we went through to do that. It should be published very soon. In addition to that, so when we introduced the regular release schedule, we're planning to release every 2 weeks, but we've over-delivered on that promise. We're now making releases every 7 or 10 days, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. So we made a new release this week, which we moved this phrase back up to the settings as an optional thing so that onboarding is easier. However, when I uploaded it for external testing, I noticed one bug with the transaction history that nobody else has. So we have to figure out if this is specific to my devices, but I tested on 2 devices, and figure out how to release it. So I'm really looking forward to this release, actually, but we have to figure out this bug first. We also finished the previous sprint and planned this current one. In the current one, we have 5 epics. One of them is something we've been working on for a long time. It's the air gap sync on same devices. I mean, having the vault on the same device. That's done on our side, but there's something we're waiting for the air gap team to change in their code for it to work, and they're aware of it. They just need to do it. We also added to the settings to see all your connected accounts. So if you have a Ledger account or an air gap account, or desktop connection, you can now see all 3 of them, which is something that for me was quite confusing. We did the voting app and I couldn't see which accounts are already synced, or if I could see the accounts, I couldn't tell which one's a Ledger account and which one's an air gap account. So I'm glad we're adding this for the next release. The other epics are, let's see, we're also going to make the password optional. Right now, we moved the seed phrase to settings, but we need to deal with the password as well. We have a little security course that was really easy to implement, and we're almost done with it. So we can educate people on the kind of the security implications of different types of accounts like Ledger, air gap, and just the base app on its own. And we also have a kind of a list of improvements or issues that have been flagged that we're going to work on again this sprint. And what else? We are giving input actively for the expansions. It's a bit difficult to reach agreement or alignment. So we're trying to figure out how to improve that. We also were just talking today about potentially submitting an expansion for what metadata third-party apps should include so that they could easily be listed in the base app and anywhere else. And there may be also some technical requirements around that, or security requirements. So that's on the expansions front. And then we also made a kind of we're starting to make a rough roadmap for future sprints. So we're not only like doing one sprint at a time. And on this roadmap, after this sprint, after 41, are going to be new significant features like, the incorporating naming system functionality. We're going to sync more with the guys who are working on the state channels demo, eventually Oracle. So we're basically, after the sprint, we're going to kind of power through some new and cool stuff. And yeah, that's it from base app.
Fantastic. It's nice to hear how many different touch points it has. I mean, from expansions through, and I think it's also mentioned worthy facilitating, for example, for the transaction history, the middleware, and yeah. So all those touch points are important and interesting, and I'm happy to see progress here. John, how was your week, and how is the middleware going?
So this is the update for the SDKs and the middleware. The middleware is going very well at the moment. We are focusing on deployment, so we've made a new Docker image. We're focusing on management so that it's much easier to start and stop and monitor the process, to look at its logs, to set where the logs are written to, and looking at usability features. So the big thing this week was that we've totally rewritten the subscription system so that people who connect to the WebSocket can express an interest in any kind of the object, a contract, an Oracle, a transaction, an account, and will be sent any transactions which relate to that object over the WebSocket. And we hope that's going to open up a whole set of things that people are able to do and to watch.
You can send those push notification when stuff is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a contract, you can then see every time your contract is referenced, and we will make it possible to do that historically as well.
Nice.
In the SDK side, we updated the testnet to the Fortuna release, and the hard fork occurred there with no ill effects. The Python and JavaScript SDKs were updated in time for that and are supporting all nodes between 2.3.0 and 4.0. And we've done most of the work to make transitions easier in the future. The Go SDK is now supporting Minerva and will be supporting Fortuna real soon now. And we are focusing on improving the documentation for all of the SDKs.
Perfect. You mean 3.0, right? Not 4.0.
Well, I'm just reading what was written, but maybe we're supporting 4.0 as well. Who knows?
Oh, it's coming in September. Don't worry. Cool. Thank you very much for the update, and also for the SDK, because Andreas not in this call. Thank you for giving his update too. And Martin, I will leave you for the very last point, and now switch to Dincho and get his update from the SRE side. And please, Dincho, tell us a few words. It's a long time we haven't seen you here in this call.
Yeah, hello everyone. Sorry for missing the recent calls. And last weeks I was mostly busy with the recent releases, updating all the nodes and some pre-testing of the releases. We completed the transition from monorepo to multiple small repositories in regards to Terraform configuration. And as I'm now alone in the team, since all members left last month, I'm now actually onboarding new team member. And yeah, that's it actually. Other updates are mostly internal improvements to our continuous integration systems.
Perfect, great. What is the name of the new team member? Val or?
Ivailo Badinov.
Ivailo. Oh, okay.
So I'm in the call dev already.
Oh, I think this was Nikita, but Nikita has to wait. Now we are speaking with Martin, who is, I think, mainly working on the contract development kit Forge, and maybe also there has been some work on the Stage Channel Coffee app. Let's give us an insight.
Yeah, last but not least, hey guys. So what we have focused last week was we have fixed all of the known issues for the playground, including the issues with reloading the pages and loading the environment variables. Everything is now fixed. We have also added more descriptive and informative results when deploying and interacting with the smart contract. So all of the transactions information is now present in the console, and also the decoded results. So yeah, we are now working on deploying these new features and fixes. Regarding the Forge, we have some improvements for the Forge shape command. People has some comments there, and Vlad from our team was working on the shape, so he made some improvements. It will be released next week. So something which is we think is exciting also as a new feature of Forge is the ability to write unit tests for the contracts in Sophia, not only in JavaScript but in Sophia. This is also something that will come in the new release.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Also, we had some issue reported when deploying smart contracts that has option types in the contracts. This issue is already fixed. Also, it will come in the new release, and something major that is coming. So we have a new team member, Christian, and he has worked on splitting the Forge into different modules and packages. So the Forge will be split into a CLI tool, a library, and configs, and all of the four or five different packages. And next week we will release a major release, including this and also the features that I mentioned earlier. Also, we will make a document and pretty good change log, so we can make this transition to the new Forge really easy. Also, we will be able to support if there are any issues when updating the Forge. Regarding the state channels demo, we have tested everything with the new SDK version 3.4. All issues seem to be resolved. So this sprint, we will spend some time integrating it again with the base app. The base app team also have released new version with this latest version of the SDK. So we think that there are no blockers now, and we will spend some time on integrating it again and continue with the deployment of the tool. So this is from the DevSuite team for the last week.
Cool, thank you very much. Also super interesting what's going on there. Please always remember the documentation, or Pega needs to cry, and everybody else also.
Yeah.
But you already said, so thank you very much, Martin. And also Andy just joined from the AirGap team and wants to give his update. So of course, you're absolutely welcome. Please, Andy, tell a few words about the AirGap progress.
Hello, and thank you for having me. Sorry that I don't have a camera. For some reason, it didn't work today. So yes, we have a lot of progress. We released a wallet update with Ionic 4 and performance improvements that is now live in the App Store. And we also continued the work of the upgrade in the Vault app. We also, as Stojan mentioned, have been working with the base app team, and we just merged a pull request from them to make it compatible with the base app. So App Vault and base app should happen soon. If we can verify that everything works, it should be ready to go today, like to submit to the App Store.
Cool.
We also participated in AEX calls, discussed a lot of those AEX updates. We have been working with AmpNet, those who got the Starfleet grant, and try to integrate the Vault into their product. The Chrome extension is at the moment not working because of the SDK updates, but we also have to look into that. And we invested this week a lot of time into security research on how to make our apps and the JavaScript libraries more secure. And yes, that's it from my side.
Very important, and yeah, thank you, and also thank you for contributing to get that much to all these different areas. This is extremely valuable, and I hope we continue with this. And I think last but not least, we have Nikita here in this call, at least if I heard his voice right. Nikita, are you here?
Yes, I am.
So Nikita, please give us a short update about your past week or weeks and your work.
Yeah, so hi. Sorry also for not enabling the camera. I'm still totally ill. But
quick.
Yeah, thank you very much. I caught some virus somewhere, I don't know. That didn't stop us from, of course, doing some progress. One cool stuff is that the ACI generator passes all the tests now, thanks to Hans, who is not here now. This is important because lots of our own stuff and what the community is going to build in the future will depend upon that. Already the AX6 syntax does, and maybe we can also adapt Playground to it to make it dynamically update to all the breaking changes and new features which we're going to introduce, like deep linking and all that other stuff, whatever. Yeah, looking pretty much forward for new freed up resources among the core dev team, being this everlasting solo close issue being completed, and also the Stratum stuff, so we can start working on real cool things which like developers will directly benefit from. I mean, like the other stuff is also of course important, but you know, that's nothing really fancy. It's just the must-haves, and yeah, try to help out and contribute with some ideas to the new token standard which we are putting together. Thank you for reaching out for that to me, Philip, again. It somehow went past by me, I think. Yeah, every time I deployed some token on Ethereum, I had to add some stuff because it always lacked some capabilities which the client or the project just required. For example, there was no way to put a reference when doing a token transfer, or like there was nowhere a way to putting a reference to whatsoever. This should be then also included in our standard, and also a funny, cool, tricky capability to for a token to switch its underlying contract. I had to do that for one project, and we're gonna basically just re-implement that in Sophia. So, for example, if you get legal trouble or soft lock, could happen because your code depends on some time issues or whatever, you need a new feature. So then you could just basically, exchange the underlying contract of your token, so to say. One of the hopefully cool things we're going to have in our token standard. And next thing also will be events, getting events, like a really proper event listener. So we already have this really cool feature by John for subscribing for all arbitrary stuff from the middleware. But sometimes you just need a really lightweight solution when you just need to listen to events. And I'm striving to make this like a node client, a native node client feature, so you can get there really quickly without setting up like a whole middleware somewhere. And
it would be absolutely great, Nikita, if some of those topics which are more major also get moved into forum discussions, because I see lots of things happening in direct communication channels like our chat, or of course in those, I mean, those updates are also valuable. I think everyone here who listens to this call can also jump on topics that he or she is interested in. But if you also get some stuff written down, I think it will help for people who asynchronously want to join those efforts.
Okay.
And thank you very much for your update and everyone's update here in this group. And I think it went well with Jitsi. I'm happy. The recording also seemed to work. So we have this update. Please don't forget the written updates too, as I said, because not everybody has time to go and listen to 40 minutes of us talking, but maybe wants to quickly check out different projects in the current ecosystem. And thank you very much for your time. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you all next Friday latest. And of course, whoever is in Berlin on the We Are Developers conference too. That's it from my side. Anybody wants to voice something? If not, bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.